we have never existed in this land before. And they're going to get a lot of us. Make no mistake about it. They're going to get a whole lot of us. So ethnic strife is going to be kicking live. Now, it's going to be on basically two fronts. You're going to have white people in this land who's going to be fighting other white people because they know that the system is evil, but they don't like us either. And like I mentioned last week, don't get any funny ideas that you can ally yourself with these white people who's fighting these other white people in this land. Because if you go back to some history, and let's go back to the Byzantine Empire who ruled in Yugoslavia, that's the same mistake they made. They allied themselves with the Khazars who adopted Judaism to fight against the Turks who was also Khazars who was calling themselves Muslim. And two groups turned around and said, look, man, why don't we just take care of the problem, kill these niggas. And so that was the end of that story. All right? This is why history is so important. You got to know what's going on. Okay? Napoleon Bonaparte was fighting us in France. He wasn't fighting another white nation. Battle of Waterloo, he was fighting us. All right? If you looked at, I'm pretty sure some of you are probably familiar with J.A. Rogers, Nature Knows No Color Line, and you see he shows you all the crests and the shields of what he found when he went traveling. That shows you we were there. And we were ruling the thing. I got news for you. You know why? One reason why the white boys in Germany were so terrified of us? See, we had a native tongue that we spoke, but we developed German. German was a military language, man. And if you ever hear the Germans discuss the language German, they tell you it's from the gut. Well, of course they should be able to say that because that's the way we whipped it on them. All right? And that is how we passed military secrets. We spoke it in the language of German. And German, if you ever listen to German as a language, it's very rough, man. Very, very rough. You know, I can say, Entschuldigen Sie, ich habe eine Frage. You have no idea what I just said. I said, excuse me, I'd like to ask you a question. You know, wie heißen Sie? How are you? You know, it does. It's just weird, man. It's not really designed. They've made it into a so-called art today to speak. But when I was in Germany and they start speaking, brother, I try to have my umbrella, man. Because when they speak, they spitting on you. Stampler doof, Bahnhof, you know, all those words roll out. All right, so let me just get right down to the meat of the matter here. Urban warfare, the good stuff. The good stuff. Initial attack. I like to start off with the initial attack because that's crucial. Initial attack, the first point of attack, 72 hours is critical. And for our people, that's when most of us is going to get spanked. 72 hours, we're going to get spanked. Really. Now, I'm not just going to lay it out there and tell you it's all gloom. But I just want to let you know, our people are going to get spanked everywhere. Whether they live in the suburbs, the ghetto, they're going to get spanked. After 72 hours, see, our people, they have not prepared for this. And the way you train is how you fight. See, the brother Talib, Master Talib, into the martial arts, he wouldn't be that good if he sat there and watched Kung Fu movies all day and say, by George, I've got it. It don't come like that. That's the way most of our people are. They're like that. We can sit down and read a book, and somehow we're going to have it just by reading a book. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. The white man knows it doesn't work that way. You know, he don't send his troops in to fight a battle until he made them rehearse the scenario. First, they do it what they call a war game. No troops yet, just the officials. And what they're exercising is how well they can implement their plans, coordinations, logistics. This is what they're exercising. Once they can get that licked, then they go ahead and actually do the training exercise with troops. That's where you see your buddies who may be in the reserve say, I'm going away for 2 weeks. Well, his commander and the next higher-ups over that commander have already sat down during the winter months and played a war game scenario, what they call a training exercise. Okay? And then the next exercise after that became TOOTS, training without enlisted troops. And then finally, the final phase of the training exercise comes in when they've got everybody there, everybody's got their duffel bags, and then they explain to them in an operation order format, okay, look, this is what we're doing for the 2 weeks that we're going to be up here. And then they go through it, and they rehearse it until they get it right. We do nighttime missions, daytime missions, you know, river reconnaissance. And I was in the engineer unit where we did, as a combat engineer, I supported an infantry brigade. And in that infantry brigade, we had armor battalion, mechanized infantry battalion, that's the APCs and all that good stuff, and an air assault. They flew around by helicopters. And I had my company task organized each platoon to support one of those battalions within the brigade. And the brigade is part of a division. All right. In task organizing my unit to take care of certain missions, there were many things we were required to do. Anything from making maps, anything to going out and reconning whether or not the enemy has placed an obstacle in the way, because if they did, our job is to remove it. We had to know what the weather report was going to be like so we can figure out if the brigade that we support should make a move or not. Was there rain in the forecast? Yes, there was. Well, if there's rain in the forecast, and I know this guy's got tanks, or he's got a whole lot of vehicles with wheels instead of tracks, wheels, it's not a good time to make a move, man, because he's going to get stuck in that mud. And when you throw dirt on top of mud, you get more mud. That's just the way it was. So we were known as your terrain experts. We read the map before you even moved. You wanted bridges built? We built them on land and on water. We dug in your field hospital units. We prepared what you call the embankments on where we intended to land equipment. We did all of that stuff, man. Aerial recons. And then our secondary mission was to reorganize and fight as infantry when required. So we parked our bulldozers in the woods, our bucket loaders, our dump trucks, our chainsaws, and we went out and we played infantry. And of course, I always found the opportunity to do that. You know, I wanted to, come on, brothers, tonight we're going to take the whole entire company and we're going to practice assaulting Objective Blue. All right? And 3rd Platoon, I want you to be the defender and we're going to assault you. And everybody had blank ammunition. We're playing laser tag with the Miles equipment. We did all of that stuff, man. Grenade simulators, you know. And once in a while, the brigade that we supported got to put us in their big part of the operation beyond doing engineering support. But the point is, we trained, we rehearsed. It became second nature. Our people is not operating on that mode. We're talking about when it hits, what we're going to do. Well, when it hits, I know what many folks are going to do. And let me tell you what they're going to start doing within the initial 72 hours. Most folks are going to stay home. They're going to believe that that's the safest place to be. They're going to stay home. Now, what is this man going to do to flush you out of your home? He's going to destroy, let's say, the projects. He's going to rubble that whole place, man. How many hundreds of people live in the projects? A lot. He's going to rubble it. That's all part of urban warfare. You have to put your enemy or the person you're fighting into psychological, you have to make them become distressed. And when you're distressed, add that with the 72 hours. After 72 hours, you can't add 2 quarters together. I don't know if you know that. That's all part of the stress of what's going down. Because you're not sleeping, you're not eating, all right? Fear's got you. And on top of that, he does something like this. You can't add 2 quarters. Hey, brother, quarter 1, quarter 2, how much is that? I don't know. He can't. It's the most severe case of jet lag. How do I know this stuff? These are the kind of things that when I was in the service, they put us through, just so we could know. as commanders. For 3 days, they have us in a room, telephone, we got water, we got coffee, anything we want. A cot is right there, but they start hitting you with those scenarios one after another. You don't sleep, man. You're a company commander. You got to keep going. If you fall asleep, you're dead. How are you going to sleep on the front line when the enemy is right up on you?